Hey there, fellow adult collectors. Welcome back. David Eon here with another virtual video vintage Toy Fair catalog tour. This time taking a look at the Coleco 1985 dealer catalog, which once upon a time belonged to Catherine. This was Catherine's, but it's mine now. We make it happen. They sure do. This is what I would consider to be a grail catalog. There is a lot of nostalgia to unpack in here, and I will go through it page by page and show everything. We got Sectaurs in here. We got Colecovision in here. We got a lot. That's the opening page that has the chapters, if you will, of the various things that you're going to be able to find in this catalog. And I will warn you, though, this is very Cabbage Patch heavy because Cabbage Patch fever was still alive and kicking in 1985. So they want to make sure you know they have Cabbage Patch and Kusas, which are like Cabbage Patch mutants, if you will. They're like animals. And I'll try not to spend too much time on this, but this catalog is very heavy in it. There's more than 90 pages. Not of Cabbage Patch, but there's more than 90 pages in the catalog, including Cabbage Patch. And here we have a look at some of their basic kids that they have available. And the unique aspect of these, of course, was the fact that they came with a birth certificate and some other odds and ends. One thing I do like about this catalog is, and you don't see this in every Toy Fair catalog, but a lot of them used to do this, they show you what the packaged item should look like, how it's going to compact, how much the case is going to weigh, how big the case is. Those are some logistics that are pretty important to a lot of retailers that might be carrying these products. More Cabbage Patch. They knew they were a hot item, and they were producing a lot of materials. And this is the twins. These are actually twins. And basically all they're doing is selling you two of the same doll in different outfits in one package. Some of you might remember or might know the history of Cabbage Patch and when it was gigantic, when it was a massive commodity and people were fighting in the aisles to get one. These are, of course, the World Traveler editions of Cabbage Patch. Russia, Scotland, you get the idea. Just some real stereotypical looking Cabbage Patch dolls. That does not look Chinese to me. You get the idea. It's clever though. I mean, they were cashing in as much as they possibly could on this while the iron was hot. As they say, strike while the iron is hot. Designer fun furs, and basically these are outfits. They're just fur coats, if you will, for your Cabbage Patch dolls. Aftermarket. These were getting big money back in the day. Most of them are practically worthless now, but back in the day they were getting big money. This is sleepers because, of course, they've got to sell a bunch of different outfits. One thing you may also want to notice here, they show with the packaging design and other vital information, national TV. And that's an indication for the buyer that they will be advertising this stuff on television. So you can plan your campaign around, your sales campaign that is, around the TV ad spots. T-shirts, you buy T-shirts for your Cabbage Patch. Rompers. Unbelievable. I think the packaging design on these is interesting though. How it's like a big fake cardboard cutout of the doll with the outfit on it. That's a unique packaging design. I'll give them credit for that. As we plow through this, you hear the cat in the background. I'm in here. Come on, silly. She was wondering if she was alone. More outfits, way too many to even really look at. Tons of outfits. I wonder how many carded examples of these still exist. It was really more of a window box, as you can see here. Window box design. Yep, sporting outfits, Western outfits. Take it where you can get it while there's money to be made, I guess, huh? That's really what this is. Coleco cashing in. Coleco best known for Colecovision, of course, which will be shown later in this catalog. Show pony kids, and there's their horses in Western outfits. And notice that the box design shows them in a little stable. I'm a big fan of box art and box design, by the way, if you're not new to the channel. It's one of the things that really stands out for me about certain vintage items, because modern retailers, especially in the adult toy collectors market, really don't pay much attention to box design anymore. But that was a big selling point, to be visually appealing to the potential customer. Travel bags, travel beds, play pens for your Cabbage Patch. I mean, that's taken it a bit far. Interesting that even in the 80s, though, a lot of adults were collecting these back then. Not so much the kids. I mean, a lot of children had one, but a lot of adults were collecting them too. Sneakers and socks, shoes and socks. Incredible. And there's still more to go. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of Cabbage Patch before we get to the other types of toys and action figures. Table mate, so you can have breakfast with your Cabbage Patch, I guess. Toy cart. Got to store them somewhere. You can't buy a bed for every single one of them. You're going to start throwing them into the toy cart. Slumber bag, carrier. It's incredible how much stuff they made, really. You know, big wheels are in this. Not big wheels, because, of course, Marx made the original big wheels, but something akin to big wheels in here. Look how in-depth this got, where they're making strollers and swings for your little Cabbage Patch doll. Twin strollers. Don't think they forgot that they made twins in some of those packs. Incredible. There is a Cabbage Patch museum. And if we get the chance, we might actually go to it sometimes, because we do tour museums and things like that. We toured the Lunchbox Museum last year, actually. It's been a while since we've done it. And this is the Preemies collection. So premature born Cabbage Patches. I guess they pulled them up from under the Cabbage Patch too soon. Preemies. Okay. And preemie outfits. Got to dress them, because the other clothes aren't going to fit. Now this is interesting. This is something you don't see very often. Cabbage Patch Kids collectible pin-ups. And it's like a window box with a tiny Cabbage Patch doll in it. That's different. And of course, a little playhouse for your pinups. The little dolls. Make a diorama. I don't know if it comes with furniture. It says Playmate. And here come Kusas, which are like the anamorphosized Cabbage Patch dolls. I don't know what they're supposed to be. It says new from the Wakusa Valley for 1985. There's the box display for that. Which I think the Kusas are more interesting than the Cabbage Patch dolls, but not something that I would collect. Playmate outfits. Little carded outfits for the Playmate sized dolls. So your Cabbage Patch can essentially have its own Cabbage Patch. Merry-go-round and a little car. Which you see some of them now, like World's Smallest Figures. People making little teeny tiny action figures for their action figures to play with. Coleco thought of it first. They're ahead of the curve. The Koosa's collection, which also comes with birth certificates and such. We're almost through the Cabbage Patch, I believe. More Koosas, including a little bed, a little bowl. You know, with the tag hanging like this, it reminds me of Wrinkles. Do you remember Wrinkles, the dog, and it had a hole in the back of the head so you could use it like a hand puppet? And that's it. And we're in the middle of the freaking catalog. Can you believe that? We're right in the middle of the catalog. That's how much Coleco dedicated to Cabbage Patch, which makes sense because they were making a fortune on it in 1985. But you have Dr. Seuss here, and again, packaging design for Dr. Seuss. Basically, he's sitting in a little box. It's almost like a chair, actually, and there's the Grinch. I'm a big fan of Dr. Seuss. Cat in the Hat with a hat. Removable hat on little roller skates, in pajamas, and a giant one that says package 1, weight 6.4 pounds, 36-inch Cat in the Hat. He looks bigger than that in the picture, but that's still pretty big. And naturally, there are no price points here. There won't be price points in the catalog, and when you see a price in a catalog, it's usually handwritten, very often by the dealer, who are the person who, the salesman who collects the catalog, will write the price in themselves. And I have a few catalogs like that. Miniature pool table, miniature hockey, Stanley Cup playoff, and NHL power play. Did you ever have stuff like this when you were a kid? I never had anything like that. I think I would have liked it, but I never did have anything like that. Air hockey. I used to play a lot of air hockey with my son. We used to go to a bowling alley and do it. And a Cabbage Patch telephone. How cool is that? I'm actually a fan of vintage child phones. Probably wouldn't get that one, but there are others that I find appealing. Private Call, the personal phone that folds and locks with a key. Huh. I don't know about that, Susie. I don't know if I want my kid to have that. Although we basically have it anyways because we give cell phones to kids and they can lock them and you won't know what's in them. And here comes ColecoVision. Who remembers ColecoVision? I hear a lot of people talk about Atari, which came before ColecoVision. But I had a ColecoVision, and a lot of people did not like these types of controllers, but I had a great time with this controller. They complained that it wore their thumb out. It was hard on their thumb, but I actually operated with my palm. I put it like right here and pressed the button on the side, and it worked great for me. I had a ColecoVision. I got it from somebody. I didn't buy it, and I had a bunch of games for it, and then this door right here, an attachment could go in there by which you could play Atari cartridges. Atari 2600 cartridges could go into that attachment and you could play them through the Coleco, and it came with that attachment when I got it. And an assortment of the games. A lot of classics there, as well as some of the other, and I believe that's it actually, the expansion module. And the steering wheel, I got that as well. And this controller, but it didn't work, I also got. But look at that. That's very nostalgic for me. having a ColecoVision, having an Atari 2600. And again, like I said, I didn't buy this system. I got it from somebody, and I had an Atari 2600 also. I purchased from someone who was getting rid of it. And then I went to Zales. You remember Zales? Department store? And they had a ton of Atari cartridges on clearance for $1. And I bought those. I had the Smurf. I had the Smurf game. that stood out for me just now. Did you have ColecoVision? That is just so nostalgic for me. That's very, very 80s. And it says you get Donkey Kong with your ColecoVision. Awesome. Songster. Introducing the world's newest singing superstar, the Songster. Boomboxes were a big thing in the 80s, of course, and that one came with a microphone so that you could sing along. And now they're going to talk about ride-ons and big wheel style vehicles. I'm going to press some more nostalgia buttons here. Cabbage Patch, big wheel. I'll just call it big wheel because that's the association that we all make. They call it a power cycle because they can't say big wheel because of marks. But Cabbage Patch, power cycle. And a Transformers power cycle, big wheel. Unbelievable. Can you imagine what that would sell for now? Especially if it was still in the box. And how is it only 12.5 pounds in the box? The blow mold plastic. That's why these things like dissolved after you rode them around a little bit. Because they were so freaking light. The materials were so light. What Transformer fan wouldn't love to have one of those right now? Knight Rider. Yes. Knight Rider. Big wheel. Power cycle. That's awesome. And of course there's the box art. And you already saw that on the next page. The Sectaurs. I don't know if I've ever seen this one in real life, you know. The Sectaurs power cycle. That's cool. That's just neat. With the big bug on the top with the wings. And the box with some actual artwork instead of just some photographs. And they put a lot into the Sectaurs. They expected a lot from Sectaurs and didn't get it. Unfortunately, Sectaurs did not take off. But they invested quite a bit in it, and you'll see that here in the catalog by how much real estate is given up to it. A couple of basic Deluxe Princess and Formula 3. Not Formula 1, Formula 3. And then a Kusa's power cycle. I wonder if there's anyone out there that just collects these. I know there's people that collect vintage bicycles. Things like that. Sesame Street, My Little Pony, and Big Bird. It's got a disc in the front. And then another Big Bird one. And that's 5.7 pounds. That's got to be small. Little toddler cycle there. Got to start somewhere. Ride-ons, Cat in the Hat. That's cool. That's neat, actually. And the pop-in train. I remember toys like that with the little balls would pop up in the thing. That's pretty cool. Cabbage Patch Vacation Buggy. And the Knight Rider talking pedal car. With the lights. It's got the little eye that flashes back and forth in the front. Come on, look at that. You know, LPH is a big fan of Knight Rider. She's on the lookout for some vintage Knight Rider stuff. Hasn't had much luck, though. And a couple of generic things. Dump truck, fire engine, which is just a retooled version of the dump truck. Clubhouse, Cabbage Patch Kids Clubhouse. These are neat. I'm not a fan of putting these in the yard, but my son, when he was little, I got, not this one, but one of those clubhouses like the Fisher-Price, and I set it up in his room, and he used to love that. He used to love that thing. We're on page 78 now. Care Bears Bench and Slide. Yeah, not just Kenner had the Care Bears license, but they didn't make bears. Only Kenner did that. Cabbage Patch, little barrel, umbrella and chairs. Snowbuster sled, new for 85. You ever go sledding? Do kids sled anymore? I don't think kids do anything anymore but schlep over a phone. More sleds. I remember these. These never worked right. The damn vinyl roll-up ones, and you can barely stay on top of it, and you end up tangled up somewhere. Snowjet toboggan. Look at these. I had something similar to this with the two handles, and you're supposed to pull them. You're supposed to pull one, and it's supposed to change direction, but it doesn't work. That shit never worked. Ski-Doo Formula XL snowmobile. Or maybe it's Formula 15 if you're looking at it in terms of Roman numerals. And Sectaurs. And when I suggested that they used a lot of real estate in this, what I mean is it's all big page splashes. Now the battle is in your hands. And this was a really unique concept. These were big figures, as were the Coleco Rambo series. Big figures. And they had these ride-on creatures that were actually like puppets. It was a glove. These are fingers. So you put your hand in it and you were the insect. And that was just a really cool concept. It was a really cool concept. And I'm a fan of the Sectaurs, actually. And there we go. They're going to show you each one on this big splash. It said 7 3/4 inch action figures is what it says. And then they show you some packaging design here. I don't have any Sectaurs. I don't have any Sectaurs, but it's on my radar if I can get a good deal someday to start getting into that before prices get too out of hand. Some of this stuff is pretty expensive. But look at that. General Spidrax and Dargon. And that is a lot of commercial real estate in this catalog, where they could have just shown you some smaller images, and they're like, nah, we're feeling this. We're going to splash the whole page. Pinsor and Skulk. And again, you can see how it's like a little hand puppet. A lot of effort went into this for another, if we're being honest, failed toy line. And there are many failed toy lines from the 80s. They were all connected to, or supposed to be connected to, a cartoon. They put the toys on the shelves, they put the cartoon out. If the toys weren't selling, they would cancel the cartoon. That's how Kenner's Swamp Thing only ended up with 5 episodes. The toys weren't moving, and they said, screw the show, cancel it. Just like that. And that often happened. I think Visionaries only had like 9 episodes or something crazy like that, if I remember correctly. There's Zach, and he comes with a little tiny bug, like avatar, if you will, companion, and Skitto and Toxid, because the animals have names as well. There's the packaging on this style of figure. Yeah, like I was saying, to me this is sort of a grail catalog because there's so much nostalgia here. Mantor, and then over here, Commander Waspax. Commander Waspax. Fan of Sectaurs out there? Or anything else you've been seeing in this catalog? here we go. Night Fighting Dargon. So it's a deluxe Dargon. Well, not really, because the other Dargon came with the puppet. So this is like a not so deluxe Dargon, actually. And then the playset, the Hive Action playset. Look at the size of this thing. That is impressive. That is just impressive and underrated. Everybody talks about the greatest playsets ever made, and they always want to talk about like the Cat's Lair from Thundercats and the Castle Grayskull from Masters of the Universe, which quite frankly are not very good. And all it is a blow mold, and that's all this is probably. They don't show you the back, not up here. They do have a small image of the back. You can kind of get an idea. I close up on that a little bit, and you can sort of see what's in there, how it looks. Looks like a big sticker is in there, basically. But it's impressive looking from the outside, and it's a large size. It says 6 pounds and 34 inches high. I wouldn't mind having it. Like I said, I've got Sectaurs on my radar. But you know what, kids? That's it. That's all she wrote for the catalog. And again, you know, I'll throw it out there. Did you see something that caught your eye? Something that made you nostalgic, something that brought back some memories, something that you had or forgot about or never knew existed, maybe? And you're like, oh my God, that's cool. I would love to get that. I could see myself collecting this. Tell us about it in the comment section down below. Check out some of the other videos for other catalog tours. I've done several of these, as well as commercial blocks. I've done blocks of vintage advertising commercials for nostalgic purposes. Toy discussions, showcases of individual toys and figures, unboxing of modern figures. We do a lot on this channel for nostalgia. And I hope you enjoyed that. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. And that being said, what more can I say? But thanks for watching. And we'll see you again soon.